Kristen. Hello, everyone. This is Watercolor Mixing Masterclass with me, Kristine. Today, we are live. We have amazing attendees from all across the world. And slowly, we are gathering in this webinar. Chat room is open to all of you to ask questions, to interact, to let me know if you, I don't know, maybe don't see me or don't hear me. Also, about questions, you can ask questions, but we will also have a dedicated time to Q&A, so you can ask maybe during this session. You will see something that you don't quite understand, or you can write it down, and later when we will have this time, you can ask away. Lots of questions, there will be time, and I will try my best to answer all of them. I have right beside me one of my team members, Eva. Maybe you already know her from emails. She will be more in chat room. She will read your comments or concerns and let me know, because I will be with I can't show you because there's lots of wires. I will be on the other side. Camera will be on the table view, and we will be working and I will be mixing. So I will not be constantly looking in a chat room, but you can ask, you can talk there, interact with each other. Chat room is open. As you can see, this webinar I'm the only one that you can see. So this session is recording, and later on when you are watching a replay, there's only me and nobody else. So you can enjoy the session also afterwards. As I mentioned, session will be recorded and I will send out it tomorrow. There's some editing process and etc. So it needs some time, and tomorrow it will be ready to send out with a little ebook about watercolor mixing practices. So today for this session, you need some kind of sketchbook, paper, notebook, pencils, so you can write maybe notes, anything, or you can just listen and then watch a replay. This mixing is suitable for what I was painting. This mixing is suitable for watercolors, because watercolor is very different from oils, acrylics, even gouache. Gouache is also it's used with water, but watercolors have their words are going out of my mind. I'm a little bit nervous, but watercolors are different because they are really transparent, and we are building lots and lots of layers to get the richness and vibrancy and saturation, darkness. It is quite different with acrylics and with oils. They are opaque compared to watercolors, and with, for example, oils, you can paint dark, 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 and later on just add a highlight with white pigment, and you get a white shiny spot. With watercolors, it doesn't work that way. We are first thinking about where is light, reserving that area unpainted, and then building layers. So it's opposite. With oils, acrylics, and gouache, you are thinking about light at the end. And with watercolors, you need to think about light in the beginning. And also transparency and layering is also about watercolors more. With oils, you also can layer, but that is completely different story, and we are not using their water. How to decide how many layers to do. I will talk about that as well. We will cover separately layering, transparency, etc. So that will be also covered. My name is Kristine, who already know me. Hello, and who don't know me, I'm a watercolor artist full-time and teacher already from 2021, teaching more than, I don't know, 10,000 students already passed me. That is amazing experience, and I know something about watercolors and I would love to teach you today something about watercolor mixing. And so we can slowly It's already 12 minutes past. We can slowly switch to table and start the masterclass. If you have some technical issues, let us know. So nice to connect with so many people in the world. Thank you so much, Kristine, for making that. Thank you so much for coming. We already have 200 attendees, which is mind-blowing. And I will switch now to my table and we can start. Here. So first of all, I want to quickly go over some basic tools for watercolors and show you what am I using and what I have here. I will what I have here. Watercolors, ceramic palettes, and I will be using only ceramic palettes. My suggestion is to use ceramic palettes. They are very different. You don't need to buy ceramic specifically made for mixing. Of course, you can also buy if you would like to, but if you don't have ceramics, you are working on maybe plastic palettes. I also just suggest take white plain dinner plate. It's also from porcelain or ceramic. It will have the same surface and it mixes really nice on this surface. Also easy to clean. Here I have dirty ones and I will show you how it is easy to clean and it will always stay fresh. Dipping paper towel in water and wiping, and your ceramics or porcelain will always be as new. This is the beauty of ceramics. Also, when you are mixing, watercolors are spreading evenly. With plastic, they are rolling into one spot, and that is, I find it kind of not so enjoyable during painting time. Another thing I would like to emphasize here is that here I have two dirty palettes. They are not dirty. For example, this one here is from my recent tutorials that I'm doing. It's in the process. I mixed watercolors. They are now completely dry. It's completely dried. And I can use this again and again. The difference also between oils and acrylics, you can't do that. If you have a painting session with oils, you can only use while you are painting. When they will on the next morning be completely dry, you can't make them live again. But with watercolors, I can even cover this with plastic wrap and leave it for months, even a year. Maybe not too many years, then it will crack and appear later on hard to mix, but up to a year, it's no problem to keep your watercolor mixes. Only you need to cover with plastic so there's no dust setting on your mixes. And even though it looks like there's almost nothing left, well, it is, and I can still use this amount. I just slightly water it, and for example, for little maybe some little stem or little stamens, this is quite enough amount to use for little details. I have several mixing palettes, and for example, here are browns. If I need something little detailed brown, then I will show you, for example, then I just take a palette which has browns. For example, here we have lilacs and they have little brown spots on the under flower head. So I just will take from here and I have this brown and I can use it. So don't wash your palettes if you think that, oh, I finished painting, I just can wash it away. You can have several palettes of your plate, dinner plates, and just use them for reds, for browns, for blues, etc. But during this session, I will be using clean palettes so you can clearly see what I am mixing. So there's no, you can clearly see what is happening. Next, let's talk about watercolors. Now I am using professional 14 pigments. This is for some time already used, and this is a completely new. Lots of people are saying this is really small amount of watercolors, but in reality this little set can last for a very long time. But I didn't came straight away to such amount and types of pigment. I will show you my very first color box, which has so many pigments. Here it is. In the beginning, I thought the more pigments I have, the better I will be with my mixing. And here I have them painted out. And even now you can see I'm not using this for quite years now, but even now you can see that some are pretty much used a lot, and then there's some that I haven't, like I filled, for example, this one here, I filled it up and I never used it. Here as well. And then I noticed this pattern, and I have had in the beginning some amazing tutors that also taught me about mixing, that it's not about having too much pigment that it will help you in some way, but in reality the lesser you have the better. I didn't understand that in the beginning. I thought that, oh come on, what could be the problem? I will have lots of reds, lots of yellows, lots of blues, and then I can mix and paint a huge variety. And then I got paintings that didn't look, they looked kind of off. And then I discovered color harmony and what does it mean. Then I switched to slightly lesser amount of pigments. This is my next palette, which is also old, it's metallic, and I also don't like the surface of metal. It doesn't allow the mixing go so smoothly as ceramics. Now I have lesser amount of pigments, and still there are some that weren't used at all. And this is the period that I discovered that I just use like maybe up to 10 or even up to 7 pigments. Why do I need to have such a huge watercolor art box, paint box, if it's heavy, it's not handy, and I'm not using those pigments? Then I slowly came to this. This is this watercolor set is kind of my invention in this form, and in these pigments. These all pigments are professional. They came during my period when I was practicing and learning, looking at other teachers, listening to other teachers and their suggestions, also my preferences, and slowly came to these pigments, and I find them so versatile, so that with these 14 pigments I can mix almost like maybe 99% of colors that I need. Now, a little bit about the brushes. When we are mixing, first rule, very important, we are not using our finest brushes, like for example fine tip brush or some expensive natural hair brush. That is not used for mixing. You will damage your brush pretty quickly. The tip will wear out, so it's a big no to mix watercolors. Of course, during painting time, I dip my finer tip brush in watercolors, but it's not when I'm in the beginning mixing bigger amount of watercolor mixes. Then I'm taking synthetic brush. Or you can even, maybe you have a very nice, expensive brush, but it already is weared out and you are not using it for finer painting, then of course you can use for mixing. My suggestion, use old brush. You can even, I don't know, apply a little washi tape on the end so you know that that brush is for mixing. These watercolors, round synthetic brushes, I don't know if they can wear out. I'm using them for a very long time, and they are perfect for smoothing, for layering, and for mixing watercolors. For this session, I already have 2 jars of water, and also when I am painting, I have always 2 jars. Now both have clean water. One I use for mixing, other one for painting. So now I will have 2 water jars because one will get pretty quickly dirty, then I have another one. But while I'm painting, I have 2 as well. One stays dirty where I wash my brush after mixing, other stays clean for layering. Now I would like to show you another thing what was really handy in the beginning of my painting journey. These are color swatches. So where's another one? Yeah. Violets and a little bit of pinks, reds and dark maroons, all types of greens. Here's also violets and blues, yellows and browns. I was mixing watercolors, found some new beautiful mix. I painted out and wrote down pigment names that I was using for this recipes. Also, somewhere here I wrote down brand names. For example, Rose Madère Lake. It is from looks like Schminke. No, it's like Sennelier. Yes, it's a Sennelier. Indian Yellow is from Schminke SH. So if this helps you and you have huge variety of pigments, color swatches is a great tool. And why I need them, for example, I have a new subject that I would like to paint. I go through my color swatches and bam, here it is. Exactly what I need for this rose. In the beginning it was so helpful. I didn't need to think. I just looked through my color swatches and I found. So what it says here, Sennelier red with red violet. Amazing. So I would definitely start with that and then adjust as I go. Or let's have a look at this one. This one is very close, but it needs to get warmer. I would even say, yeah, I think this one. It is Permanent Rose, Red Violet, and Sennelier Red. I would add a little bit of yellow as well. So these color swatches were really helpful in the beginning when I didn't know my pigments yet. That huge box of pigments that you saw, I was so confused with so many pigments. My eyes, as I opened the box, yes, it's beautiful, but eyes were running, which pigment to take, which pigment to take. These color swatches were really helpful. Now I know from my mind pigment names, recipes, but this is really helpful if you are in the beginning of your art painting process journey or mixing. Now another thing that I get to ask a lot of times, how do you see those colors? How can you tell that it is not just pink? That you, like for now I said that this is a nice mix, but I would add yellow a little bit. Well, first of all, it wasn't like that from the beginning. I was so frustrated when I heard other artists say that when they look at the rose and say, oh, there are some blues and maybe a little bit of yellows. I was like looking at this rose and said, but it's clearly pink. What are you talking about? What kind of blues and yellows? And I was frustrated. And they say, be patient, practice, and it will come. And it definitely did come. Because the more you are looking, the more you are exploring this amazing medium watercolors or any other pigment. I was starting with oils, for example. You really in the beginning don't see colors. You see only a limited amount of color tones: blue, green, yellow, red, pink, violet. But color tone, little notes you start to see with time. It takes experience, courage to experiment, and experiment is the main thing, and practicing watercolor mixing is really important. It's like building muscle memory also with color. It comes with time. Now I touched a little bit about color harmony, and I would like to show you a few examples about what do I mean with color harmony.
Kristine, we do have a question. How many colors can I mix together?
We will cover that a little bit later, but straight away I will still not too many. 3 is very good. 4 is maybe. 5 is very dangerous. Everything above 5 will be muddy, dirty, heavy, and you will lose transparency and vibrancy of your painting. So lesser amount is better. If you, for example, mix some kind of amount of watercolor mix and the mix isn't working, better to clean it up and start again. Don't try to fix it by adding more and more. About the color harmony. So I will show you on a few examples. Here I have little Daisy. I hope you can see it on the screen. And, sorry. We have white petals, yellow middle part, and little pink spots on the edges. This pink that I am using, this pink that I'm using here, I also the same pigment used in shadows, and all the result of this flower looks calm, looks harmonious, because I'm using the same pigment also in shadow of gray color and also on the edges. This makes it all even in terms of color tones. Let me show you another example. For example, here I have this decorative pumpkin with flowers. And again, we have here harmony in colors, because here on the petals, maybe you don't see it clearly. When you see it as a whole and it's nice to see at color tones, it means that there is harmony. If you look at the subject and it kind of feels off, it kind of feels like it's screaming with colors, it means that there's too much pigments used. For example, yellows here are also very transparently applied on petals. Same yellow mix transparently was applied on flower petals, and they look even in terms of color tones and harmony. If I would use, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 yellows here, different yellows there, and some more on petals, it would look like a chaos happened on the painting. Let me show you another example. And it all is important in terms of one subject. If you have, of course, multiple different subjects, that there are different pigments used in different watercolor mixes. But like here, we have one zucchini and flower of zucchini. So greens here are the same as here. Maybe there's added a little bit of blue or diluted with water, but the greens here are same pigments as here, and they look like this is growing from one plant. It's not like flower is from some other world and the fruit is from different world. Let me show you another example. I have bird here, and we have beautiful green feathers that really catches our attention. And shadows on the tummy and lower part of the bird have also the same blue mix as are on the feather. It also much more lighter, diluted with water, but also blue from here also is here. Then it all looks very. We are looking at this painting and it's calm. Yes, we see bright colors, textures, but in terms of color, it is calm. harmony reflects as you are looking at something feels nice to your eyes, and there is this harmony. Like I don't have my, wait a second. I don't have a painting right beside me, but many of you noticed on my products this chrysanthemum flower. I painted this flower using only 3 pigments. And I have lemon yellow, permanent rose, and ultramarine blue. And I could mix all these different color tones using only 3 pigments. If I would be, for example, using for each section different pigment, this would look like a mess. It wouldn't be nice to look at. It wouldn't be as information of color tone. It would just kind of explosion of colors. But if used only 3 pigments and they are mixed together, not overmixed, and this all looks eye-appealing. And again, harmony. As we started with this flower, talking about primaries, this will be first mixing that I will do.
Kristine, we do have a question.
Yes.
What is the difference of the left and right watercolor palettes you are showing us?
Oh, these two. They are the same. I was just showing the one that I'm using is not so high appealing. It's dirty. This is completely new, and the amount of pigments. Pigments are the same. It's only brand new, used maybe once. But this amount of pigments, maybe it looks small. I can paint up to 40, 50 paintings. Of course, different color tone paintings. If I would be painting 50 red roses, then this would not be enough. But painting different kind of subjects, then this lasts for a really long time. Now, about the primaries. Primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. These are 3 primary colors that can't be mixed. We have them clean, like we can mix different yellows, so we can mix violets, we can mix greens, browns, grays, but these colors can't be mixed. I also sometimes not using red, but also using instead of red pink, because I believe that pink also can't be mixed so clean and vibrant. This is in my mind also as a primary color, and so these 3 primaries. No matter which brand, no matter which pigment name, yellow, red, and blue, these are primaries. And the very basics, if you mix yellow with red, you will get orange. This is secondary. If you mix red with blue, you will get violet. And if you mix yellow with blue, you will get green. So here I have only 3 primaries, and I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, just using 3 pigments. And this, as in this example, using only 3 primaries, you can mix a huge amount. And this was a challenge that I was taking with my students, that there's huge amount of color combination and mixes you can achieve, you can pull out from 3 pigments.
Kristine, how much water did you use?
Well, for mixing it, maybe we can post, I have water control video on my YouTube channel. Eva can post it. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. There's a wonderful video that you can watch after this live, and for mixing, it really doesn't matter. There's not too much of water. I dip my brush in water, apply it here, and that's it. I'm not measuring amount of water. For painting, it's a little bit different story, and I have this video that you can watch later and dive more deeper into water control. But for mixing, one dip and that's it. That is completely enough. As you can see, I have these watercolor mixes. They are not floating around. There's no huge puddles of water. This is enough. And also, if you noticed, when I'm taking pigments, professional pigments, we're talking about professional grade pigments, with 1-2 brush strokes, I have a really saturated amount. Student grade pigments or really basic pigments, watercolors, they don't have this capacity to get it really saturated. This is something that only professional pigments are capable of doing. That's why this amount of pigment lasts a really long time. I don't need huge amount to mix and to load my brush to get something saturated. Small amount is enough.
Video has stopped. Lost audio.
Why? So this is very simple about primaries, and your practice, your assignment when you will want to practice later is the very basic color wheel that you can do.
Cool or warm primaries?
It doesn't matter. At this moment when you are exploring your watercolors, it really doesn't matter. It's a matter of practice, and so very simple and basic color wheel, mixing yellow, red, and I'm missing another one like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, blue. So you are mixing this color wheel. First, you're taking, for example, here I have lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue. First color wheel, you are mixing these primaries and painting them in. So I'm pretty quickly doing this so we are not getting stuck too much in the basics. You can do it much slower and more patiently. First you took pigments that you have. First yellow that you get, first red that you get, and first blue. Then the second one, when you mix these colors, try to use different yellows, different red, and different blues. See what kind of color mixes you are getting. I will show you in my... For example, here, I used also lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue. This is one color wheel I got. Then, different yellow, I took pink, and same blue. And you will get different colors. This is called experiment with pigments that you have. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't try to blindly follow suggestions from tutorials, from other tutors, from me as well, which pigments to use. If you have watercolor set mine, or if you have pigments as mine, great. But if you don't have, it doesn't mean you need to throw out and quickly run to the shop and buy exact pigments. First, you need to see what you have. Experiment. Mix. Color wheel is the basic that you need to start to understand the pigments that you have. Here I took Indian yellow, red violet, and indigo, and I have different colors. Because of indigo and Indian yellow, I have earthy greens. I have more calmer oranges. Also, 3 pigments and completely different color wheel. Just because I took different pigments, I experimented with them. No, I don't have another one. So this is really basic. You can get a lot of information from these mixes. Let me show you, for example, the difference. If I'm taking lemon yellow, mixing with red, I have really nice orange. But if I will take same lemon yellow and I will mix with pink, a little bit more of pink, and my orange is different. Maybe a little bit more of pink. It's more peachy pink, and this is more to the red side. Experiment. So this is like also main thing. And when you do that, don't forget to write down notes. For example, here I used lemon yellow and alizarin crimson. It can be Windsor red, cadmium red. Here I'm taking lemon yellow and permanent rose. The more you are experimenting, the more you are writing all this, the more you are getting to know pigments that you have, memorizing pigment names, and later on you just look at the painting, look at the subject, and you can tell, well, here I see that it's more permanent rose with a little touch of some lemon yellow. But it comes with time. No worries that you don't see it straight away. Okay, everybody sees me, hears me, everything is good. That was some kind of glitch. Okay, another thing I would like to show you before we get to mixing and matching is here I have 3 pigments: transparent yellow, alizarin crimson, and indigo. And this is the amount of greens and browns and grays I could get from using only these 3 pigments. It's not possible to buy all these color tones and keep in your art box, but you only need 3. And I know there are artists who paint using only up to 5 pigments, and they have amazing paintings. Their paintings are so rich and vibrant, and they have only 5 pigments. It's not the amount of pigments that's helping you getting color tone. It's your practice with mixing. So I'm emphasizing the importance of mixing, so you try and practice. And remember to take notes. It's important. And another thing that I want to talk about is I get questions when students come to me and say, oh, my mixes are not working as yours. I'm not getting same mixes, although I'm using same pigments. It also depends on how much you're taking each pigment and the saturation of each pigment. The result can be different. And if your mix is different, don't worry, you can still paint. And when I also give my students feedbacks, I never judge color tones, because camera can take different photo, your experience is different, and with time you will see by yourself which color tone to take better. But it's something that comes with time. I can give you suggestions with tonal values, composition, but color tones, it's something that you need to practice. There's no magic way in getting this technique quite quickly. There are no shortcuts. It's only a matter of your practice.
How to know the amount of pigment used in a mixture if you want to repeat it?
The amount of mixture, it's again the matter of practice. Like for example, here I wrote down. Let me try to. I will find some recent. So I have here watercolor mixes, and of course, it's not always that you will get here. For example, transparent. I am here have transparent yellow and indigo, and with these two pigments, I can get not completely, very different color tones. But it's a matter of seeing and observing. For example, let me show you. So transparent yellow, I take little amount of transparent yellow, but I will take huge amount of indigo. And of course, my mix is different than I have on my note. But I know that I use these two pigments. It means that I need to adjust pigments separately. So here what I see, that my result is more to the blue side rather to the green side. And I ask myself, what I need, more blue or more yellow to get to the green? If I will add more blue, my mix will go more bluer. So I need to add more yellow. And when I need to adjust my mix with the same pigments that I already have here, I am adding little amount. I'm not taking huge amount of yellow, then I can go too much to the yellow side. I will take little amount and adjust my mix. Testing again. It's very close. It's kind of very close. But for example, it wouldn't be close. Let's test. Then I'm taking again little amount, adding. My mix slightly changed, and here I see that this in the middle is more closer to my note that I left on my color swatch rather than the one I am mixing. This is how I adjust. I don't measure the amount of pigment I add to my palette. I don't write on my notes percentage of the pigments that I used. I adjust as I go, and when I adjust, I do it very slowly. Let me show you another example. I'm cleaning. For example, let's see. I want to have some. Let's say I need this orange. It's Sennelier red with lemon yellow. Let me maybe move closer. No, I don't count color strokes I take for a mix. It will be way too complicated, and you will get you can get lost in that. So every time you are counting and how you can do while you are painting when you need to adjust a little bit, I don't do that. For example, here I need this orange. So first I'm taking lemon yellow, clean lemon yellow, I add to my palette. And now I understand that the second pigment is Sennelier red. And the professional pigments are changing pretty quickly their color tone. So again, I'm adjusting slowly. I'm taking a little bit of Sennelier red because Sennelier is really soft pigment. So I'm adding, I have color pigment on my tip of the brush.
Would you consider a DS equivalent to Sennelier red?
Sorry, what is DS? Could you specify? So I added a little touch of Sennelier red. No, it's not lemon yellow anymore, but it's definitely not orange. So we go and add a little bit again.
It's Daniel Smith.
Daniel Smith, you can test. Daniel Smith has beautiful pigments and lots of reds, lots of pigments you need to test. There's no bad or good pigments. I believe all pigments are great, professional grade pigments, student grade pigments. It's just a matter of your preferences and what you want to get of those pigments. And these are my preferences that came with time, came with experience, some suggestions. But Daniel Smith has amazing pigments. Schmincke has wonderful pigments. Winsor & Newton. It's a matter of what do you have right now, so that doesn't keep you from painting. If you have Daniel Smith, use Daniel Smith. Make first color wheel only using Daniel Smith. Use different yellows, different reds, different blues, and get to know Daniel Smith. You don't need to run after Sennel here if you don't have it. So I don't have orange yet. I'm adding again. Now I added a little bit more. Testing. And still not quite the same. This is more yellowish, this is more redder. So again, I'm adjusting. I'm not counting strokes. I'm adjusting as I go. Now this one is way closer. I would even add a little bit more. Now another thing is, as you can see, a little bit more. As you can see, yes, now it's perfect. Of course, now as I know how to get this color, I would mix not as more yellowish as here. I would be closer to this one straight away. But in the beginning, I would suggest you to adjust slowly as you go. And so as I go, you see the amount of watercolor mixes I'm mixing. This is small amount, and I use the same small amount. I will show you as I was showing here. This is for my whole painting mixed watercolors. I'm mixing small. I'm not mixing huge amounts of watercolors. And then the next question is, but how can you be sure if you run out of this mix? How can you get the same mix again? Well, you know the pigments that you were using. I have them recorded. I will show you. Oh, here. For this painting, I have here little paper where I recorded each mix pigments. Here I say sap green, lemon yellow, and little bit of this mix, then more of this mix. So I have here, I know which pigments I'm using. So next time when this will be finished, then I'm looking here, my notes are here, and I will mix. If the color tone will be, and it will be slightly different, great. We don't have completely same color. For example, let's have a look at this flower, all across the flower. In nature, subjects are very rich. And here we have a little bit of darker violet, a little bit of more pink. And if your color tone, next color tone that you mixed using same pigments are slightly different, great. Your painting will only benefit from it, and that's not a problem. You don't need to mix huge amounts in the beginning, so you're sure that you are staying consistent throughout the painting. I'm not worried about that. I will mix again, and if my painting will look even richer if I will have different color tones.
We have a question from Denise. When mixing colors and trying to match a color you have already made, how you can take in account for a change of color once it dries?
Let me
in the Q&A.
In the Q&A, let me reread. When mixing colors, trying to match color you have, and how to account for change of color once it dries. Well, okay, I hope I understand the question. So you think that when color is wet and when it's dry, it's different? You mean that? No, they will. Let me see. So here, this color here is wet, and these on paper are dry. They are slightly different because when it dries, paper absorbs pigment. It will always become lighter. But I know if I will add here another transparent layer of the same, it will slowly become darker, and that's applied if you need maybe darker tonal value somewhere, or yeah, another layer for shadow area. But even if I come back later and I need to continue this painting and color tones will be again slightly different, that's not a problem. You don't need to be you are not painting, for example, let me show you. If you would be painting, for example, this cover, it's consistent all the way, just plain pink everywhere. It's consistent. Yes, if you would be painting cover of the sketchbook, I will zoom out. You need to be quite precise with the mix. But my subjects are flowers. My subjects are nature finds and leaves, branches, mushrooms. They have huge amount of color tones. Even this one flower has a lot of violets. And I don't need to stay consistent throughout the whole painting. Even here you look, we have lighter amount of violet here. And here we have more darker, even with some greens in there. So I will have slightly different mix here compared to here. I hope I'm answering your question. You don't need to be worried about, like, this is what I'm working right now. And I will show you the painting that is coming from this palette. So here is my newest painting that I'm doing for my Patreons, and this is the palette from this painting. So it is completely dried, first layers are applied, and I am not worried to go with slightly different color tone here. My painting will only look richer, and I'm building next layers, and I'm building layers transparently. This is a key thing. Transparency is made that you are building layers. You are not just applying rich saturated amount of watercolors and then think that it will look kind of off. It will look kind of off.
Denise is asking, colors always dry lighter basically.
If you are painting transparently. I will show you, very often I see in beginners taking huge amount of pigment. Now I'm taking indigo. And they, for example, write me, oh, your palette is so small. I just ran after a week of painting. My pigments are finished. And I'm like, so looking at my painting and I'm saying, how is this possible? But then I realized if you take huge amount of pigment, which becomes really saturated, this is called already opaque, it's not transparent anymore, then you can pretty quickly run out of these pigments. And if I will apply this one here, even more saturated, I can't even paint saturated anymore, then this spot will stay this dark because there's too much pigment there. And this one layer is a finished one. I can't do anything about it. I can't layer, I can't add details, I can't do anything. With watercolors, we are not painting as opaque, as saturated as here, especially with realistic painting, especially with when you need to get rich results. This is not the way to paint. I will show you another thing. So here we have, I had, I think already 2 years ago, did a challenge, 25 days about basic techniques. And one of the days, I think, was called dark, how to get dark. Yes, so I'm taking this one.
We have more questions of how to get gray, or which colors do you use to get brown.
Yeah, I will go through that. So here I have same color mix, and I apply transparently 8 times. each separately is very light, but in the middle it becomes dark. This is how we are building darkness, not with the intensity of the pigments, but with layering. So this is a nice example of darkness, and not to go too dark, but painting transparently. And I will show you that as well. Okay, now we can go more into mixing different colors.
Sorry, we have one more question. Do you try to mix all the different colors or adjust the tone of the one color by applying more layers?
Both. It depends on the subject. It depends, we were painting recently banana flower with banana blossom, and there was huge variety of color tones. I was mixing and adding pigments as I went. If I have, like in this example, I pre-mixed and I was taking all my colors from the mixes with layering and carefully combining colors. But if the subject is way too complicated in terms of color tones, then I can adjust as I go. I can take a little bit, for example, I see that I need a little bit of green, then I will add a little bit of green straight to my palette and then go to my painting. Okie dokie.
Augustine is wondering, where did you get those color swatches from?
So color swatches is kind of I saw previously when I created them. It's my invention. No, maybe I'm not saying that solely mine. I saw that other artists are using little pieces of paper and they hold them in envelopes, etc. I thought that it's nice to have them all attached together. You can use little strips of paper. I was using even paper clip to attach them together. There's some leftover papers, or now I'm also now I'm selling them if you are not ready to make them on your own. But this is something that you can make pretty easy, cutting paper strips and getting them. You can even in the beginning have 10 paper strips per each color tone. They can be at least 200 GSM paper, and you can attach maybe with this a ring that holds together, or as I mentioned in the beginning, I was using paper clips. And this is something you can make on your own, or you can buy, or ask your other person to make them. But this is something that's easy to make, or you can buy it. It's up to you. But this is really helpful. This is my recommendation. When I was just starting, I was carrying around these color swatches. Greens were most used, and they are a little bit weird out because this is something I was taking on my outings when I was going somewhere, for example, to botanical garden to make some color notes for new subjects, or going out, or when I would get, for example, here I have different leaves, then I see that these 3 leaves are so different, so which color to take? This was something I was using on a daily basis. Now, let's move on to mixing. So one of my really great suggestions for beginners, and not only beginners, is to mix and match. What does it mean? You take, for example, 5 different color tones. It's better when you are just starting, maybe to have 5 different ones, but going a little bit more advanced, you are taking 5 from similar color tone. They're all kind of pink violet flowers, and how to mix all kind of different. If you are taking, for example, let's maybe even start with more basic. So I'm taking pink, green, violet, yellow, and blue. So I have 5 different color subjects. And now we need to mix these colors. First of all, you look at the colors, and in the beginning you assume this is pink, this is green, this is violet, this is yellow, and this is blue. But in the painting, it doesn't work like that. It works like you need to understand that it's not just clear, clean pink. It's never clean pigment green from the paint box tube. It's never clean violet, it's never clean yellow, and it's never clean blue. You need to mix these colors because, as I was previously laying out, pinks are so different, and how to mix these three different. But let's start with something more simpler. We have all kinds of colors. I will take a new palette. So if you would have a bouquet of these subjects, then it would be easier to mix these colors. Rather, you would have a bouquet of different roses in pink. Then it's a little bit of advanced thing to mix up, but mixing and matching my approach. And this exercise is a must, no matter how experienced you are, how you are painting for 1 year or 20 years. Mixing and matching is such a wonderful thing to do. You can if you don't know what to paint, you don't have a lot of time, mix and match. My go-to. You pick up pigments, you have them right beside you. It's the best way to compare. So, okay. First, we look at these petals. They're pink. Okay, so if you see pink color first, take pink color first. I'm taking permanent rose, but again, it can be your rose, your pink color, what you have. But first, I'm taking pink. And from camera view, I'm not sure if you see the difference, but in real life, I see the difference from this rose and this pink. They are different, slightly different. And I feel that my rose is warmer rather than pink on my palette. If the rose seems warmer, it means that there is yellow pigment. I'm taking lemon yellow, but I'm taking it in small amounts. We don't want to have orange. We still want to have pink, but slightly different. So I'm taking small amount of yellow, really small amount. And I have my paper, and I'm painting out right beside the petal. Let's zoom in closer.
How do you decide warmer as opposed to cooler?
How do I decide? Okay. Let's see. Decide. Let me show you how to decide. You can decide by comparing. If you place two different pinks, you start to see that they are different, but you start to see that one goes more to the blue, and by that you are placing right beside blue color. And one goes more to yellow. You are placing right beside yellow. These are two pigments that decide what is cold and what is warm. Yellow and blue. Yellow always answers for warmth, and blue always answers for coolness of the subject. So it is one way to look at the subject. You place these two colors, and you can see to which it goes more. It doesn't go to blue. They're like completely different here. But if I place it right with yellow, they kind of look like friends. I know this is something that comes with practice, comes with time. And you see that when you look at something, you feel, oh, it's cold. You sometimes say, oh, your skin looks cold, because skin turns more to the blue. If you look at something and you say, oh, it's so warm, this is something that has more yellow, more warmth in there. it is really, like I say, it feels like it's warm. It feels like it's cold, cooler. Another thing is even between yellows, there are cool and there are warm pigments. Kind of strange, right? For example, let me show you. Lemon yellow will make any pink, any red warm, but lemon yellow by itself is cool pigment. If we place right beside it very warm Indian yellow, then you can tell that this feels cool and this feels warm when they are placed right beside. But they both will make any red look warm. This is like you need to write it down, you need to memorize it, and with time, with experimenting, you will see the difference. Like, let me show you with this one. Let's, what I call also experimenting, like again, I'm taking this pink. Here I decided that it is warm and I added yellow and we got quite near. If you think that this rose is cool, you will add a little bit of blue, like little touch. And then it will become different and it's not the same. Like this little thing, it's changed very, one pigment goes to warmer and adding blue goes to cooler. This is called experimenting. It's not something that you will know from just when you're starting, that you will know straight away. It came to me also via experimenting. It came to me via experimenting. It came to me by making mistakes, by making adjustments. And now I'm telling you, giving you this knowledge. And but it also, nothing will be clear like after the session you will be mastering mixing. No, it will also come with time, but you will have some tools to move forward. Now we have this rose done. Now, which one was next? Green. Now we have green leaf. So we assume straight away. So it's never clean pigment from your set. You need to mix it up. Here I'm taking my most popular green pigment is sap green. I love sap green. It's very... I think the sap green is the most closest to earthy green, as one of the rarest pigments that is so close to earthy green, because all nature greens are earthy. They are not artificial greens, they're earthy greens. And I have here sap green, and I see I'm not there. In some areas on this sleeve, there are more yellow. I see this edge is more yellowish green. There is in the light area there's more blue color tones and some darker greens. So I'm taking here a little touch, again adjusting slowly. I'm not counting how many layers of color I'm taking. I'm adjusting slowly. Sap green with lemon yellow, and I want to slightly make it a little bit darker. I'm taking perlin green, slowly. And painting out. Always testing. It's interesting that palettes are white and paper is white, but it's kind of slightly different. So I'm always testing on a piece of paper. Of course, the intensity of my test is not close to the leaf, but I know that I will get the intensity with layers. I'm not getting intensity with the amount of pigment, but with layers. But the color tone is very close. To make it even closer, I will add really small touch of red, like really small. Red pigment will make any green pigment earthy green. But if you will add too much of red, it will instantly turn brown. Here, a little bit more. So here I have instantly brown, and we don't need brown here. This is when we get too much, we added too much of red, we got it brown. If we add a little amount of red, like teeny tiny touch, my green mix became more earthy green, and that I need for the sleeve. Next one was this violet, yeah. So here I have this different rose petal, and if I place it right beside with the first one, we see that they are different. Now this one is more closer to that cooler pink, and this one was more to the yellow, because again I have them right beside me and I can compare. So I see that this is not clean pink. So how can I decide which pigment to take first? Well, you ask yourself, is it red? No, it's not. Let me show you red color. It's not red, definitely. Is it green? No, it's not green. It's still kind of pink. So again, I'm taking first pigment pink. My first pigment is pink. A little bit more. And wait, well, it's really different from my petal. And as it is not to the yellow side, I will add a little touch, again, little touch of blue. So I'm adjusting my mix slowly. Like again, a little bit more. On the tip, painting out. Well, my here color looks more to the pink rather to this violet, so I will take a little bit more. Painting out. Now it's clearly violet, but it's not close to this violet that we have with this rose. Now here is again your turn to experiment how to get. You know that you mixed here two pigments. It was pink. I will mix again. And it was a little bit of blue. So now you have small amounts. You can add to this one. I will add teeny tiny touch of red. And paint it out. Well, really close. For example, here, let's add teeny tiny touch of pearl and violet.
Could you please confirm the specific pigment you are using? Are you using ultramarine? If so, which type?
I'm using ultramarine blue Schminke. This is my go-to for blue color pigment. I was using, when I was starting, French ultramarine from Winsor & Newton. I was using it for quite some time, but I didn't like how it granulated so very much. And then I got a suggestion to use ultramarine blue Schminke and never used anything else. So I'm adding pearl and violet to the second mix a little bit more. So the base for both of them is the same. And it's way closer. This is how I experiment. This is something that I wasn't taught. I wasn't reading it somewhere. It's by experimenting. If you're not sure, of course you can take red and mix with yellow and see what you will get. Mix and match is about experimenting. That's one of the ways how you can learn. So in this case with this rose, I would go with ultramarine blue, permanent rose, and pearl and violet. I think these three work the best. But for example, this mix here has the same base, ultramarine blue, permanent rose, and it has alizarin crimson. I would use the second mix here in the middle. On the outer parts, I would use this mix, and in the inner part, I would use this mix. And we have here harmony. We have base for both of them same, ultramarine blue and permanent rose. but slightly different adjustments with third pigment. This is harmony. If we will take one mix for the outer, and then, for example, let me show you. And then we will take different red. I'm taking red and indigo. Okay, indigo is very harsh. For example, for the shadow. Then it would be slightly off, even for the shadows. And then for this part, more pigments, and for the leaves, another different pigments. Then it will be, again, not feel harmonious in the whole composition. Next one was yellow. So yellow is a little bit more trickier. Yellow is a little bit more trickier pigment. Lots of artists don't like to paint yellow subjects. So we can take our palette and just place on the lemon yellow. It's not lemon yellow. We're placing above Indian yellow. Well, it's not Indian yellow, so what shall we do? Experiment. So we are cleaning our palette, so we don't have any other pigment there. Yellow is very, very picky how it turns out. So let's try with lemon yellow and add teeny tiny touch of Sennelier red. It can be Winsor red, cadmium red, add a little bit more.
How do you decide colors for the little yellow-green spot at the base of petals to keep harmony?
For example, here, well, keeping harmony, it's not just about using 3 pigments all across the painting. Of course, there will be green leaves, and I will be taking more pigments. And here I will add lemon yellow, with maybe a little bit of sap green, but that lemon yellow and sap green I will probably be using also on the stem or on the leaves, so I have that pigment somewhere else as well. That will keep the consistency but different color tones, and you look at the painting and it all feels like this is one plant, although flower head is different. And like here, for example, we have 2 different colors, red and green. But if you could look at closer to the edge of this sepal, then I would use red from the flower. Here, around these edges for this green, and I would also add the same red to tiny touch to this green mix to make it earthy, and that is how I will incorporate these pigments into greens.
For the dark edges, is that another shade or just more layers of the same color?
Just more layers of the same color. I don't paint brown shadows, gray shadows. I don't use that. Only if that is, for example, white flower and there is gray shadow or brown shadow. But for example, for this or for this, I will be using same pigment. I will probably add to this red mix a little bit of Perlin Violet to the shadow area, but it will not be brown or gray mix. It will be same red mix, only a little bit more saturated with dark violet. Not even gray, not even black. I know that there are some artists who are using blacks for shadows. No, I would not do that, never. So let's get back to our yellow subject. So I add a teeny tiny touch of red. Let's paint this out and see how it looks. Oh, it's very close. So this was lemon yellow with teeny tiny touch of red. Let's try taking different yellow, starting with Indian yellow. And if we will add a little touch of red. So for example, you are experimenting. You don't know which yellow to pick. You chose Indian yellow. And you are adding red. And it's not working, because all by itself Indian yellow is already not as yellow that we need. This lemon yellow with Sennelier red was the closest one to what we need. A little bit more of yellow. So again, we are experimenting, we are trying, we are writing down. So this is lemon yellow and Sennelier red. You can write even in your notes small amount, meaning that main part was lemon yellow and only little part was Sennelier red. I will show you in my mixing notebook, and I received a few emails before this session to explain a little bit more about mixing notebook. Zoom out. So this mixing notebook is something that I created for myself and for my students, because I know watercolor mixing is such a concern for many, and trying to do it, it's not easy. It's not something that you can master straight away. So here I am experimenting with my mixes. I'm not trying to achieve here perfect results. Here is like few layers, but I'm recording pigments that I was using. Here I'm coloring out pigment names, then mixes, pigments in those mixes. I'm making notes. Here is really rough, childish painting, but that was done outside. It was super sunny, and I wanted only to catch the color. So I'm not here worried about the result. Watercolor mixing is not about getting the result, it's about your practice. Here I had a bigger project in work and in the process, and I just transferred part of that composition and did few petals. That's it. But I wrote down all the mixes, all the pigments. I wrote notes here, and this really helped me, because we were painting from January till I think April, and I tend to forget which pigments I used, and as I was doing this as a tutorial, then it was important to stay consistent with pigments that I was using. This is really quick study. This was really quick study before more realistic painting. This is a really quick study of a pear. Let me show you. This was, for example, more detailed. This is like I was adding more effort to this study. You can do the same. I saw students who do amazing, super realistic paintings in my this mixing notebook. And there are also in this mixing notebook there are 9 tutorials, 9 different guided tutorials that you can scan with your phone camera or your iPad or any other tablet. These QR codes are not working because this was first a sample test, but when you get this notebook, then these QR codes will lead you to this exercise, and to this color wheel. So this is something I find really helpful in mixing practice. You can write down here. I will show you. The idea of this mixing notebook came from when I was making my own studies, and I created a whole sketchbook for my studies of pigments. And then I decided that there should be one place where you can make your notes of the color practices. Here also I use transparent yellow, Prussian blue, and alizarin crimson, and how many color mixes I got. So here are greens, and also we have this this tree is done with lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue. It's also available in YouTube. Maybe Eva can share a link So you can create your own sketchbook and use it for the practices. Here was really colorful color wheel, using more pigments as I went. So this is something you can dedicate a whole sketchbook for your watercolor studies. Okay, let's get back to oh my god, it's already 1 hour 30 minutes. I hope you have energy to continue a little bit more. I wanted to cover more, but yeah, this topic is huge, and you can't really cover it maybe in one session. But yeah, I tried to do my best. This beautiful flower, forget-me-not, I really like this flower, and it's one of the first flowers of spring, and I love the color because usually we have reds and violets and pinks flowers, and to get blue flower, it's so special. So let's assume that it's not clean blue. Let's paint it out. Let's paint out clean blue color, even diluted with water. It's not even close. Let's move closer. Please don't stop. This is nice. This is funny. Okay. I love this. Can I take a picture of this? Please don't stop. I love it. So I need to. This Zoom session is really special. Okay, so this is not clean blue. So how can we mix this color? And we understand that this is blue flower, so I will start with blue. I'm taking ultramarine blue. Another blue color that I really love is manganese blue, cadmium. Oh, sorry. Let me not guess. I will tell you. So if you have, manganese blue is really nice blue color. Cerulean blue is wonderful blue pigment. And
Kristine, which Schminke ultramarine blue are you using? Ultramarine finest or French ultramarine blue?
Well, not French ultramarine blue, definitely, but in Schminke professional grade, there's ultramarine blue. I'm not sure about the finest, but it's professional Horadam ultramarine blue. Yes, and I'm not sure if there's different ultramarine blue, just ultramarine blue. Yeah, this is, so mixing ultramarine blue. And how to know what to pick next. And here, why the importance to have real subject in front of you, because real subject can tell you a lot. If I look around this flower, I notice there's a little closed bud on this here, and it's pink. This little fellow, I don't know if you can see it. It's here. It's pink. So it means that this flower has pink inside. Here, it just tells you, it's right in front of you. Closed little flower is pink color. If we even put them both together, you see, one is blue and one is pink. So meaning I am adding little touch, and I go again with little touches. I'm taking little amount, why it's not seeing here. So I'm taking little amount of pink and adding to my blue. It changes very slowly, but it's different. Now this blue is different, but not so, it's close, but not still. Again, I'm taking a little bit of pink. Yes. So I would even say this first one is closer. This went a little bit too much, but possibly I would use them both because some areas have more pink, even on one flower head. Some areas have a lighter amount of blue. So even you don't need to stay consistent even on this little flower head. you can see that this is paler blue, this is more, this other blue, a little bud is even pink. Even on this little flower, you don't need to stay consistent with one watercolor mix. I hope I'm clear with this topic about not be afraid to stay consistent with one watercolor mix.
Do you ever work with cobalt blue? I know some botanical artists that do, but I seem to have trouble with mixing it to make greens without a loss of granulation.
I have in my older box cobalt turquoise, and that's really turquoise. I don't use cobalt blue. Yes, I know that others are using. Again, preferences. We have our own preferences. If you experience that it granulates and you don't like it, because there are artists who like that pigment granulates, then try different pigment. In that case, if you experimented, you tried and you don't like it, then you change the pigment. Don't change pigment without trying. Don't change pigment just because somebody else told you to take it. There are preferences. I was painting for some time with French ultramarine because other artists told me that is the best blue pigment that you can use for botanical painting, and I was struggling with that until somebody else told me, try ultramarine blue from Schminke. And I tried and it was like a light bulb. Yes, that's what I like. But others are using French ultramarine from Winsor & Newton and they are super happy with that. Test. You test it, you don't like it, change it. My suggestion, if you are changing, try ultramarine blue.
If you have no option of having real flowers to create color, can you use floral book, which is very colorful?
Yes, you can, but, big but. The difference, as we did with this blue one, maybe in that photo, that little pink closed flower bud wouldn't be visible and you would be thinking what to use. Real subjects can tell you much more than the photo. That's when I take a reference photo, I just don't take one photo of one subject. I will take like 20 photos in different angles, and then when I will be painting, I will be looking at those photos because they are giving me information. I only mix and match from real flowers. I don't paint from real flowers because, like, this flower was picked early in the morning and now it's already faded, and I would never have this amount of time free during day to paint this one flower. It will be dead faster than I will even start. So taking reference photo is a must, but mixing and matching, it would be best. If you don't have real flowers, try to use maybe house plants or even house fruits, not house fruits, fruits, vegetables, what else? And yes, photos are also an option. Now I would like to, it's, oh my God, it's 1 hour, 30 minutes. I hope you are still here. Talking about, I promise that I will talk about muddy and over mixing. So this is something, if you, for example, we already have here two pigments, lemon yellow and Sennelier red. If I will add different yellow, because for example, I'm not getting the color I need, for example, still not that. This is a common issue with beginners. Then I'm saying, oh, it's not there. Let's take different pink. So this is already fourth pigment. Still not there. Let's try maybe blue. No, still not there. So now we already have gray mix here because we overmixed watercolors. And if we will continue to add pigments, it will only become more browner or more grayer, and we'll finish with just muddy, dirty looking color. So if something is not working out, swish, you clean this plate and start over again. That's another thing. Do not use huge amounts of pigment, then it will be a waste. But if you take few brush strokes of 1, Then you take few brush strokes of other, and for example, few brush strokes of third, and oh, it's not the color that I want, it's not working out. You took small amount of pigments, clean this off and start again. This is to not get dirty and muddy watercolor mixes.
Sorry, Kristine, we have to cheer for Joanne because it's 1:40 a.m.
Oh my God!
She's trying to stay awake. So
Joanne, we are. You can go to sleep. I allow you. You can watch the replay. Oh my God. Okay, well, yes, the time is running pretty fast. Let's do more Q&A now. I wanted to do more mixing, but yes, this is something that's a big topic. So questions now. You can ask, maybe Joanne, you can ask questions and go to bed. You will feel more alive if you will ask questions. I will switch my face so you see me. Okay, I will. Can I have a little bit sip? My throat is going off. I'll stop the recording. This is very interesting and instructive. So how can we replay this? I will send a replay tomorrow. You missed the beginning, no worries. Oh, okay. Do you mix only colors and only warms, only cools and only warms together? No, I mix cool and warms. I look at the subject and for example, with this rose petal, it is more to the blue side. Then I am thinking which to add when I see that it's but for example here I wasn't thinking is it warm or is it cool. It's yellow, it's warm already, so I was more thinking how to get this yellow. I wasn't thinking about cool or warm. How many layers can you apply before it gets too much, too busy, too worked? If you are painting transparently, you don't need to worry about that. You can apply 100 layers. It will not look overworked. It will not look muddy, but only rule if you are painting transparently. If you will paint like I was showing, where was it? Straight away with super dark and saturated, this is one layer, then it's sand. One layer, that's it. You can't add anything else that will, it's blocking. So I will show you technically with watercolors. For example, if you are looking on, this is paper, but if you're looking on the paper from the side, so this is paper. Oh, let me switch to this is important. I will switch to table. So let's look from the side. This is paper surface. And you apply first layer of watercolors. This is like under microscope, for example. This is transparent layer. You apply it, you apply next layer. It's like building like a pie. You apply next layer. All these layers are transparent. Light is shining through all these layers, reflecting white paper and shining back. This is when we look at the painting and we see, oh, it's shiny, it's so vibrant, even with dark and super dark results. I'm not sure if I have it. This is layering. This is when you can have like even, I say 100. The light will shine through light layers and reflect. Now, second, paper. And if you will paint dark layers, this is one dark layer, second dark layer, you are blocking light. Light will not go through these dark layers. It will just reflect this darkness and painting will look dull. It will look overworked, even with you or even with one layer. If you are painting if you are painting, I don't have so much. No, I don't. Oh, here. So we are building richness with layers. This one is done with many layers, not with one, not with two, not with the 10. There are many layers to get this vibrancy, richness, and the more layers you apply, but only transparent, the richer the result will look. Okay, next question. So I'm going through many topics pretty quickly. You can't cover everything in one session. Do you have time to tell me a little about white? I think gray and maroon. White. This is white. This is white color. You see these white spots here? This is paper. This is unpainted area. There's no white pigment. If you have watercolor set with white pigment there, you will, if you apply that white pigment here, you will never get the whiteness as it is here. With watercolors, paper is your white. That's it. Sometimes you can use gouache, and I have also crocus flower on my YouTube channel where I compared using white as paper and white as gouache, and you can see the difference. The difference is huge, and I asked to vote people which, even without telling, which crocus was painted with gouache and which one was leaving white paper, and I asked people to comment which crocus you like more, and of course they all liked white paper because nothing stays, nothing is even close to that. Do you teach mixing colors on Patreon? Yes, I do. I teach. We have, first of all, before each tutorial, I show how I mix colors. Then, for example, as I mentioned, this watercolor mixing notebook is all about mixing watercolors. There are 9 guided tutorials. Then in my okay, in my upcoming book, I lost. Oh, here it is. So in my upcoming book, I also have 15 projects, and each project first starts with tutorial how to mix those colors. I spent quite a lot of time explaining about watercolor mixing. I have on YouTube channel quite a lot of mixing and matching videos about browns, about greens, reds, violets, I think. Yeah. So on my YouTube channel, there's a playlist of watercolor mixes. Once you have achieved the color you're looking for when mixing, how do you make sure you have enough for your project? We talked about that. I'm not mixing, so I have enough. I always will mix small amount, mix again, mix again. If the color tone is different, great. You will have much richer painting. The one I am showing you here, I mixed, I don't know, maybe 5 times during this session because I mix small amounts. And here there's more of pink violet, there's more of blue violet, and that all together, not even staying consistent with the same watercolor mix, this painting looks more interesting. Another question from me is, well, I get it quite often, where's use of painting if we can have a photo of the same flower? Well, with painting, we can make it even interesting, more interesting, with these different color tones, adding a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow somewhere. And this is something that we can make our paintings more artistic. While layering colors, do we have a lot previous layers dry before painting? Yes. If we layer, we let the layer dry, then we apply next. If we apply on the wet layer, it will overmix, it can become muddy, and you can damage paper no matter how thick paper. If you will not let it dry, you can damage it. Even I use sometimes 640 GSM paper, and even there you need to wait for layers to dry. And as I said, there are my students. One student, she's doing Ingrid. She's painting here, and I told her many times that this is a sketchbook, notebook, sketchbook. It's not for painting seriously, but she is making here amazing paintings. This is 200 GSM paper, and lots of other are saying 200 GSM is such a bad paper, and she is my proof that you can even paint on 200 GSM paper, super detailed, super realistic paintings. And I have another sketchbook of mine, which is also 200 GSM paper, and I will show you. This was done with many layers, and paper didn't tear. So it's a matter of waiting for layers to dry. It's important, waiting for layers to dry. And I was in London with my workshop in February, and we were viewed old master paintings from 17th and 18th century. Well, they didn't have even 200 GSM paper, and they were painting super rich and beautiful paintings. It's not a matter of paper quality, it's a matter of technique and waiting for layers to dry. Why we end up muddy while we mix colors? Over mixing, too many pigments, what else? If on the painting it gets muddy because you didn't wait for layers to dry, they again overmix. How can I? No, I don't understand. Sorry. How can or for the no? How to decide how many layers to do? If you're painting transparently, it's for me, it's a matter of time that I feel, oh, I can't have this tutorial for, I don't know, 5 or 10 hours. And what I'm teaching you is the beginning of realistic botanical painting. If an artist who is doing a painting for an exhibition, this is only a beginning. You need to spend more time. So, for example, an artist doing a painting such as this size, for an exhibition or a contest, it can take up to 40 hours even to paint this flower. I did this, I think, in 1 hour or maybe up to 2 hours. So it's a matter of time for me. If you're painting transparently, you can work on and on. There's no time. If there's no time limit, you can add layers and details. My question on getting transparent blue.
How to get transparent blue?
To forget-me-nots. Dilute with water. To get any transparent color, you need to dilute with water.
How to get the light blue with the dark?
With water, not with pigment, not with what. And why after several layers, the paint gets removed with the brush. This could be issue of the brush. If your brush is too stiff. Second, it could be an issue that you haven't waited for layer to be dry completely. Third issue could be if you painted too saturated, pigment is too much, and with the stiff brush, you can easily lift, and then you will get a white spot on the paper. That can be fixed when you, for example, if I would lift somewhere here, some part, I would take the same mix. I would take my fine tip brush, and I would do little dots of this mix in that little spot. It also happened with me. Then I would use stippling method to fill that little space up. I would not be painting over all the area of the petal. With little stippling method, add that little washed out spot. How many colors can I mix together? Covered that. 3 to 5 is like, it's the top of the top, and still it's a little bit too much. But there are some more complex mixes, but I like 3, 4 max.
Do you ever use a dryer, or do you dry naturally?
Only naturally. I use small amount of water, and while I'm painting this petal, I apply this petal. I don't sit and physically wait. I move on to the next one, then to the next one. And when I'm back here, it's dry. It's dangerous. For a list, there are painting techniques where you need to use dryer. But if you will use hair dryer, you can, and if you paint too saturated, then by blowing, you can blow pigment and it can roll to the sides, creating this dark edge, which we don't need.
Can you get light or something you just overdo?
Can you get light or something you just overdo? I'm not quite getting that. If you want to get something lighter, oh, you meaning if the painting you need to get it lighter. Sorry, that's why we need to think about light in the beginning. With watercolors, you can write it down. It's always easy to go darker it's harder to go lighter. There are ways how to get lighter, but better not to overdo with darkness. Start lightly, start super transparently, like this one. This is only first layer. The reference is quite dark and I will be building dark. So in the beginning, I go very, very lightly. So I have room to improve, to build those layers. Do you use wet on wet technique or wet on dry? In the beginning, first layer is wet on wet. I apply water on the surface, but not just enough so watercolors can be moved. I'm not applying like puddles. And then I apply wet watercolor mix. But later on, I will go more drier, drier, drier. And at the end, details and textures are achieved with dry brush. What do you consider when choosing between professional brands for every color? So what do I consider? So as I was telling, these pigments that I use in 95% of my paintings that I have is this amount, and these type of pigments came with time, experience, suggestions, trying practices. It's not like this set came to me as I started painting. I used a lot of pigments, a lot of brands. Still, there's a lot of brands and pigments that I haven't tried, and but this is something that came with experience. It's not some kind of preferences. My main preference is to have professional watercolor pigments, because I know professional watercolor pigments will have a lot of pigment in there. When you apply layer, then use a clean damp brush to remove color. Is it damaging? No, it's not damaging paper. If you are wiping pigment, this is one of the techniques that I use on every painting. You are wiping and it will wipe the pigment, not the paper surface. Do you prefer hot pressed paper? Yes, over cold pressed paper. Definitely, especially for smaller, because if you will be using cold pressed, it will not allow you details. For example, here we have really thin leaves. They're so thin and neat, and the edge is straight. Cold pressed paper is rougher surface and would not allow for these details. For example, if you would be painting huge botanical paintings, realistic, then cold pressed paper would be my preference, because then it's easier to move color on the cold pressed paper. For smaller paintings, hot. If landscape painting, cold pressed paper. What watercolor paper do you use? So first of all, hot press. Second of all, at least 300 GSM, and I'm using my own. It's again tested with time. I also use Saunders Waterford 640. I really like the thickness of that paper, especially if I need to paint a little bit bigger paintings, then I will be using 640. But for this size, 300 best. Does your new book will contain color mix tutorial descriptions? I will show you. Where did I put it again? Oh. In my book, there are 15 projects, each guided with two tutorials. One tutorial is only about color mixing for that project. Second tutorial is for project. And the approach of those QR codes is same as here. You scan with phone or tablet, and that will guide you to a full tutorial. But also in the book, for first 35 pages are dedicated to basics, and also there's a section about creating your color wheel, watercolor mixes, color swatches, exercises, the power of a limited palette. There's a whole section about mixing. Then there's a section about, here was a section that I told you about the stippling method. The thing that you said, that what happens if you lift accidentally. And here I covered, because this happens quite often. So I cover this as well, then transparent layers and all this that I mentioned about layering. Oh, here was this example about crocus, one with gouache and one with so the first 35 pages is about painting techniques, and then 15 project plus this book have inside it comes with 15 sheets with line drawings for these 15 projects, 300 GSM, my paper that I tested with time. So this is something that this is my labor of love, and I really like how it turned out, and it will help you a lot in your painting process. Are all the projects in Watercolor Wisdom about botanical painting? This book is botanical workbook. My next will be about birds, and this is different, but this one is botanical workbook. So all projects are flowers, leaves, mushrooms and berries, fern, flower, raspberry. What else? Flowers, and there's also another one with mushrooms and cherries, but all botanical, realistic. So also, if you want to say thank you for this session, you can buy this copy of the book. Will you ship to India too? Yes, we do ship to all across the world. Only exception is Brazil. We are experiencing problems with deliveries to Brazil, but yes, India, Australia, New Zealand, no problems. US, all Europe, no problem.
Kristine, are you thinking about the ebook?
For this book, not right now, not at this moment, only physical. I time to time share free little ebooks with guides, mixing, references. There's a lot already that I shared. For example, I was showing you this sketchbook where I have 20, we did 24-day challenge, 25-day challenge with different painting techniques. This challenge is available completely free on my blog. Maybe we can share a link. This challenge was a blast. It was so good and people enjoyed it. So if you want to get more into mixing basics, layering, painting, tonal values, references, this was a hit. I will show you. There's also a big bug, and we did graphites. So this is something you can work on, free ebook.
We are delivering to Uruguay too.
Yes.
Yes. So Kristine, the last question, it's not a question really, but I want you to read it loudly.
Hi, Kristine. I always appreciate your lessons and wonderful paintings. Thank you for your time and effort. Thank you so much. Oh, 2 hours and 6 minutes? Seriously? Oh my God. Time flew by so quickly, and I feel that my voice will finish in 5 minutes. Thank you so much for joining, and almost everybody stayed till the end, but I'm not judging because somebody's already maybe fallen asleep. Thank you so much all across the world. This session is recorded. I will share. Maria, Donna, Janice, Carol, Anu, Malena, Nina, Debbie, Melissa, thank you all. I love you all so much. Harmit, Michelle, this is amazing. I would love to meet more frequently. These sessions bring me so much also stress, but when I do them, it's such an amazing time to meet you all, that I'm not alone here in my studio, but I have my community with me, and thank you all. This is I want to pop a champagne now, and we had a blast. Thank you so much. So recording, I'm on to working on recording session, and we'll share all with you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.